here
Hi, Simon.
by my side. Sarah says hi.
Hi, Simon.
I think they're not hearing you.
I think I heard Simon say hi.
You good? Hi, back. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Simon.
Jambo, habari.
Zuri.
So, what do you want to talk about, Willa?
Yeah, actually, it's about today. There isn't much to talk about. There's only the setup of Hub0 using Docker. I'm not sure if you've seen my email.
I probably have not. I was in clinic yesterday and I haven't caught up on email.
Okay, I just wrote it like maybe half an hour ago or now.
Oh,
Yeah.
then I definitely haven't seen it.
Okay.
I was getting my hair cut.
Huh?
I was getting my hair cut.
Okay. Yeah, this morning there. I totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Habari ya asubuhi?
Yeah, salama kabisa kwako.
Mzuri sana.
Okay, good. You're making progress. It's nice.
So we have the Hub0. I think we also have I think the forms team working on HTML form entry, and that's going to take some development to do validation. To complete those forms and get them ready for production is probably going to require some developer input.
Yes.
And presumably we want to try to, we don't have to solve it like with the ultimate design up front, but we would like to not rewrite from scratch code over and over for every form, but find a way to have some of the common things shared across forms. So
I spent like a few hours with James Arbaugh talking about HTML forms and validations, and there's a lot I can actually do that's by just copying what's been done, but I'm going to hit a wall, and what I'm hoping to do is find out where those walls are before our university call next week, so that I can bring up what I've been facing, and I'm hoping that there's a handful of us on that university call. I'll be on it. Willa, will you be on that university call?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, good. Then I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I pushed for that call was to at least, from our standpoint, to be able to focus on kind of the developer side of it in terms of focusing on not so much here's how to use HTML form entry, which we're already getting experience with, but more here's how you do some advanced validation or some advanced techniques.
Oh yeah, my goal by then is to have all the HTML. I mean, all the HTML is done. Right now I'm working on like the CSS part of it, because we all chose different. None of us chose wrongly. We just chose different ways to do it, and then some of the things that James taught me to do, some like baby validations. So I'd like to have all of that done and my understanding of it developed by the time of that call, so that I'm ready to participate in the more advanced discussion.
So are we in a place now that I assume you're talking about like the return visit form?
Yeah.
And is that at a place where it can be filled and submitted?
Yes. I mean, each section has a different style to the table. People chose different colors and different columns and widths and stuff like that. But yeah, it can be submitted. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. It works. It's not pretty yet, but it works.
Yeah.
That's good to know. That's nice.
And we can help with on the CSS side as well. I know that Willa knows how to do styling. That's something where you want to get to where you have a common set of classes that you use across all your forms,
Yeah, and looking
rather than doing them individually.
Yeah, exactly. And looking at what other implementations have used for forms, I mean, they don't get fancy with their. I mean, it's not a bunch of
Yeah.
colors. It's pretty.
Yeah, no, there shouldn't really be any colors. It should be about layout, not about coloring.
Right. And actually did a couple tutorials and feel pretty confident that the form team and I can come up with something simple that looks nice.
Yeah. Colors actually can be self-defeating, because when you need them, like when you want to draw attention to something, if you have this colorful peacock of a user interface, then it's lost in all the noise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that.
Cool. So yeah, if you do get to where you have questions, we can also, I'm sure either Willa or myself or any of the devs probably could help if you get to, like, this is acting bizarre and I'm not sure why.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, so Sarah, just to be clear, you said that there are some validations you can just copy and paste. What do you mean, copy from which forms? Are you talking to some other people who have developed HTML forms, or?
Yeah, well, there's a lot documented on the wiki, but and then James Arbaugh went through a lot of forms that he's done before and showed me how he's done things, so I can model after what he's done. And then, of course, there's the form bank. And then Darius got me on GitHub and showed me the Mirabelais forms. So there's things that they did that I can look at how they did it and model after them as well.
Okay, so do you have okay, let me rephrase that, or maybe say it in a different way. Do you already have the requirements, like in that return form, what exactly needs to be validated? Do you know those sections which needs validation?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so you have them written down, and have you found those code snippets that can be used to do those validations?
No, I haven't written them down. I can just look at the form and know.
Yeah, what she's working through, Willa, right now is more layout and kind of some of the basic validation.
Okay. Yeah, actually, yeah. The reason I was asking for that, I think it would be easy on her part and our side if she can just find out those areas which need validations, and then she can also identify the code. If it is possible, and she has been in contact with James and Darius.
I don't know that there's examples of and Sarah, maybe you've seen these, but are there examples of people doing kind of the fancy cross-field validation or advanced validation that you've run into?
The major validation that I see people doing is skip logic.
Yeah.
Okay. Skip logic is kind of cross-field, isn't it?
Yeah. You check one thing and then you skip a section.
Yeah.
That's what most people stick to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is skip logic.
But what we want to layer on top of that, not just say disabling things or doing skip logic, but we want to be able to say, okay, well, this field should be cannot be this value if these other two fields are that value. I assume that that's the type of more advanced validation that we had on the InfoPath forms that we'd like to replicate.
Yes, and that's where those are the types of specific questions that I'll want to bring up on the university call. I'm just not there yet.
Okay. Yeah. So Sarah, I was just thinking, if possible, It would be nice to identify those areas and come up with those, not come up, just see, pointing us to the code snippets that are supposed to be able to do those validations. And then we can sit together and see, oh, what do we need to add or what do we need to modify? I mean, I think it's going to be easier if we do it in collaboration between your team and our team.
So I was already planning on doing that. What I hear you saying is that you would like to, you and I to be on the same page as it before the call.
Yeah, I think hearing them kind of along the way, like if you know of one or two specific examples where you're going to need help with validation, making sure Willa knows about those as soon as you know them. You can work to build a list, but I don't think we need to wait until you have like the full, like completely vetted, this is all the validation needed for the form documented before there's any conversation about it.
Yeah, that sounds great, and I'll appreciate the extra support.
And where do we, are you doing this on the test server, or where would we see kind of the latest, like are you doing it locally on your machine, or are you doing it?
I'm doing it on the forum server.
Okay.
And let me put the link to it in the chat box. Hold on.
Can you email that out, because I'm driving right now, so I won't see that.
Sure.
You can put it in you can paste it in the Google chat. That's fine, but email it too, so I can. Because I don't know if does the form server have the same authentication as AMRF?
Yeah, I think if your account was created back then before the form server was created, it should be. Otherwise, okay. It's different, and most probably it is different because it was different for me.
Yeah, I don't even know. I haven't seen the form server, so I don't know the URL.
It is the same, I think, except that for the port it is 88 and it is not secured. It is not HTTPS. It's plain HTTP.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's not AMREF AMPATH ORKE either.
It is forms.ampath.or.ke.
Oh, it's forms.ampath ORKE.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how about I don't know what you call it when you put the code into Atom and then save it. Anyways, I have it saved in a file. I can also attach that, so you can look at the code.
What's Atom?
The text writer that one of you guys helped put on my computer when I first got it.
Okay.
Is that a text editor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ah, that text editor. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let me send it now. All right, so that way, if you you can at least look at the code if you don't get into the form server.
Yeah, I think I don't have an account on the form server, so that means I'll need to ask for another account. And do you want an account back? I will ask that.
Yeah. If you can ask for both of us.
Okay.
I thought they might just copy over the user accounts from production or something. So.
I think they didn't. I couldn't get to the form server using my credentials.
Okay. Sarah, do you have admin access to the form server?
I do not.
Okay.
Ada does.
I can get those created though. It's not really an issue.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so we are good. I mean, as long as you get something, Sarah, like just a starting point.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 items, then we can start on those while we keep on working on the others, so that we can go on together.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, and the more we're, as a group aware of kind of what questions we have before the call, the better off we'll be in the call, making sure they get answered.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Makes me feel less like I'm kind of doing it alone. That sounds great.
Okay, so that will help us move on. Sorry, you had something else?
Oh, just an FYI, the form team has a schedule for getting 5 more forms uh, done in HTML, clinical forms done in HTML by the end of April. So we'll be on a schedule to churn them out. Once we get this first one done, I think it'll be smoother sailing.
Excellent.
Cool. Are there plans to share them on the forums bank?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Cool. So that we got a good plan, I think, in terms of moving forward with forums. And I think Willard, have you talked to Martin, or like, it sounded like he was saying Alfio could take on some of the validation tasks.
Oh, I think that was Jonathan, not Martin.
Oh yeah, Jonathan. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so Alfio is not here yet. He's on leave. He was supposed to be coming back tomorrow, but he has some emergency, so he'll be showing up on Friday or probably Monday. But yeah, so when he gets here, then we'll have to sit down and see what he can and cannot do.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure that if, whether it's him or whoever, you want to be working on the that step, it would be nice to make sure that they join the university call.
Ah, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do that, yeah. Okay, now the Docker stuff.
Yeah, was my email completely unintelligible?
Actually, this has nothing to do with your email. Your email is, I think your email is perfectly fine. The issue is the creation of the Hub Zero image is not as straightforward as we thought it should be, because it seems like the Hub Zero itself is very system invasive. I'm not sure if you you know what I mean by that, right?
I didn't quite hear. You said Hub Zero is what?
It is highly system invasive. Like, it is very tightly coupled with the system when you're doing the installation. So it is doing a lot of changes with the system, and
yeah. So it's not going to be easy to script it. I agree.
Yeah.
But I think if you create a Hub Zero container on the ETL server. So do we have the ETL server running and with Docker like 141 on it?
Yeah, it's running Docker 1.41.
Okay, excellent. So you should be able to go on the ETL server and create a container and then just work within that container. There's a new, they added as of 1.3 a great feature for being able to hop in on a container and mess with it.
Yeah, like you mean like a bash access, or what do you mean?
Sorry, say again?
Yeah, like running a shell, or what do you mean, like working with it?
There were a couple features that they were missing. One of them was specific to working on the Mac, which is shared volumes on the Mac, where like when you tried to share a volume of a container, it would share with the virtual machine and not the Mac itself. They solved that so that it works as you would expect it to. That really doesn't affect us right now, although it's nice when you're working on a Mac. The other big thing that they addressed, which was a real nice new feature, is you can do the Docker exec. So you can do Docker exec and then -IT for an interactive terminal.
Yeah.
And so if you have Hub Zero running, you can, on the ETL machine, you can do Docker exec -IT Hub Zero,
yeah.
and then bash.
Yeah.
And that will execute the bash command and give you a prompt, and you will be instantly on the, like, have a terminal basically on the Hub Zero machine, which allows you to manipulate it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did when I was creating you remember that image I told you to download?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Actually, I did everything on the container, the running container. I download everything, install everything,
in the
deploy.
command, and then you then you would commit your changes.
Yeah, then I committed my changes and then uploaded that image
Yeah,
and told you to.
yeah, and I think that's exactly what we need to do is just um, is is just set it up that way. It won't be scripted. It will be this magical image on the ETL machine that we can't just fire up a new one on demand. It will be an image. Basically, it'll be like a base image that it has all the specific settings already baked into it, and so that can be an instance that just has that you set up for Hub 0. It can have a MySQL instance in it running if need be. If we want to go the route as you suggested of having it self-contained for all the Joomla stuff, and then if we can get that running, then and they can put their magic in it. Then the only trick will be we'll need to trick their data source, their tool, to use the MySQL instance on the ETL server instead of the one inside that Docker container.
Yeah. So, but the issue is, you remember the last time when I tried to do that, it seemed like it's not a very good way because we can. How do we reproduce that container later on? That's the idea, right? That's why you wanted to create a Docker file and then you build the image.
No, I think the Docker file, the notion of scripting it using the Docker file is not going to work because of all the it would be great if we could script everything, all the pieces up until where they needed to add their magic, and then they could add their magic, and we would save those files, and then we would have a scripted way to build a new machine at any time we wanted.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to give up on that and just say, let's just get it working, and that means, as you did, you got it up and running. Just do that, take that Docker container, get it working on the ETL server, and then in the email I described how we can use SSH to automatically put them at the Docker prompt.
Yeah, I haven't tried that one, but I think it is straightforward. As long as you can run the terminal, it means you get to the. I think the idea is to get the ETL via SSH and then get to the shell running on the container.
Yeah, so ideally the ETL server should be, because it has patient data, it should be behind the firewall.
Okay.
So ideally the way they would be able to reach it would be, I don't know if there's SSH to the ETL server open to the world, or if it's behind the firewall. If it's behind the firewall, which is what I would expect, then we would use the SSH server to get to it. If there's a SSH port exposed to the world, then we could skip that step and they could go directly, although it's not quite as secure.
Yeah, I'll try to cross-check that one.
I think even the AMRS machine right now is not fully behind the firewall. I mean, it has, obviously we exposed port 80 and 443 so that you can reach it from anywhere. But I think SSH is also open to the world now.
On AMRS on production, that could be true.
Yeah, I think it is. Which is,
especially if you use AMRS.AMPATH, it is resolving somewhat. Yeah, actually, we can get to the SSH.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's not, from a security standpoint, we would have the fewest number of holes in the firewall as possible. But that aside, whether we have to go through the SSH server or we need to, or they can go directly SSH to the ETL machine, it's pretty easy with a key, with a public-private key to set that up, and like I described in the email, so that they, when they SSH in, it executes that docker exec -it bash, hub 0 bash, that command, and so when they SSH in, it will feel like they're SSHing into the Docker container. That's better than giving them terminal access to the ETL server.
Oh, okay, I'm a bit confused here. Because in order to get to the ETL server, they are going to SSH into it, right?
Yeah, but by if you can put a command when you use the key, the SSH key to authenticate.
Yeah.
You can put a command in front of it, and that's the only command that it will automatically execute, and that's all they can do when they SSH in. So you can force someone so that when they SSH, they can only execute one command, and so essentially they will SSH into the ETL server, whether they can go directly or whether they can go to
SSH server.
through the SSH server. We can figure out, but when they get to the ETL server, when they SSH in, it will automatically put them in Docker container. So they'll never see the terminal on the ETL server.
Yeah. Okay. I get it. Yeah. I completely get it now. Okay, that's brilliant, fantastic.
Yeah, it's perfect because for them it's like they will feel like they're just SSHing into the machine we set up.
Yeah.
But we will know that it's actually a container, inside of it, and then anytime if they go in and they make some changes, we need to know that they've done that because we will need to commit that back to the image.
Yeah. Okay. So another thing, you're saying that I know the way you can supply a command on SSH when you put in the terminal, like SSH is some username, then the host, and then you put that command right after it. How is this done using? I mean, if you use the key. Yeah.
So have you done SSH with a public-private key?
Yep, I have.
Yeah, so you have a .ssh folder, and you put in your you have your private key there, and then and your public key you put on the remote server under .ssh, and then inside a file called authorized_keys.
Yeah.
And when the public key is on the remote server in that file, and you have your private key, you SSH, and you get connected without having to enter a password.
Right.
So if in that authorized keys file, you can put a command equal and then double quotes any command, and before the key, and SSH will execute that command automatically.
Ah.
And when that command exits, it will shut down the SSH. So by making that command docker, exec -it hub0 bash, that will automatically join the hub0 container and execute bash with an interactive terminal. So for them, it will look like they SSH in and they get a prompt. Oh, I'm in the machine, but they're actually sitting in the container. And when they exit the container, it will shut down their SSH.
Okay, that's nice.
So it works perfectly. I actually was a little worried how we were going to manage all this, but it actually works even better than I thought it could, and it's very simple to do.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
And and so the Docker container should be set up to expose expose a port, the web port. Are you exposing it on like 8080 or something like that, or 80 or what?
I don't know how to do it using the. See, I was going to do it using the Docker file. Now I think you can also do that when you're running the container. You can specify that on the command line. So automate that so that you don't have to do it every time you're running the container.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know in a Docker file you tell it. When you're configuring in a Docker file, you say expose this port, and then you can in the command line you can say what port on the host machine that should map to. I don't know if you build a Docker file container without specifying any ports being exposed. If the -p on when you run the container, I don't know if that will automatically. I have to play with that to see if can you essentially expose a port even when you haven't, when you didn't say it up front.
Yeah,
I'll play with that as long as we can make that work. Like essentially build the machine, and then force a port on that. Build a container, force a port on that container to be exposed. Then we don't need to worry about it. if it turns out that you have to somewhere at the beginning have, when you first built the machine, built the container, that you have to specify the exposed ports, we would want to get that sorted out quickly before we go too far.
Yeah. By the
Yeah,
way,
so, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I know that they're used to Apache on on the servers, but having played with Nginx some, it's so easy to redirect things on Nginx.
Okay.
It makes me wonder if maybe we should put that on. I don't know. Have you ever used the Nginx server?
No, but if you say it's
Yeah.
good, I mean, most of the
Oh my gosh. In Apache, you can do these, mod rewrites, and you can rewrite URLs and do proxy paths.
Yeah.
You can do these commands.
Yeah.
In Nginx, it's almost like you're writing in JSON. You just say a location like /foo. So anybody going to the foo path on that server,
Yeah.
and then in braces, in curly Q braces, you say return 302, and then a new address. It redirects them. It's almost like you're writing JavaScript or JSON to tell it.
Yeah. In that case, I can agree with you, because the mode you write in the Apache is very cryptic.
Yeah. I think the Apache makes it a much more cryptic, and in Nginx, because really the sole purpose of the web server on the ETL machine, on the bare machine, the sole purpose will be to proxy these containers, so that when you go to ETL AMPATH or RKE, that web server's job is just to connect you to the right, under the hood to the right port for that container you're interested in, and I think that can be done much cleaner with Nginx. It'd be much simpler. So I mean, there's no reason we couldn't install both and play with them, but having played a little with Nginx, it makes me realize why it's becoming so popular.
Okay. I guess we can convince these guys to try to use Nginx.
Yeah, because I really think it's just gonna all we're gonna use that web server for is basically proxy paths, like proxy commands and redirects.
Yeah.
So. All right.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it, and I'll try to rebuild the container using the old school way.
When I get in the office, I'm sitting in the parking lot right now. But when I get in, I will see if we can force a port to be exposed. If that's the case, then then we don't need to worry about the ports right now for the container. You can just finish up getting it running and ready for them.
Yeah, I'll check that out too. It's fine. It's okay. You can take a look at that, but I'll be doing the same thing.
Yeah, excellent.
Okay. Anything else? I have nothing else. Anything else? Anyone? Okay, so we're gonna end this call. Thank you, Sarah, for being here, and thanks, Bart. I think Bart is lost.
Yeah. Thank you, Willa.
You're still here? Okay, cool.
Yeah, still here.
All right, guys. Until next time, see you on cyberspace.
Okay, see you in cyberspace.
Thanks, guys.